Nice.
Yeah, I don't know,
It's polite.
but yeah. So this is Dave, an ISTP, MFTISE, consume, play, blast, sleep, blast even. Uh, and Dave, I'm assuming that your name is not actually like your surname is not actually of all people.
Yeah, no. No, it's just I don't know. I wanted to come up with a funny name on Facebook and that kind of jumped out at me, I guess. So that's, yeah. So no, it's not my actual surname. No. I get that. I get asked that a lot. And then like people will ask it and sometimes they mean it and sometimes they're just joking. And when they're joking, I'm like, no, that's not my surname. Well, I was just joking. Like, oh, I don't know. Like,
But like it's one of those where like it almost could be like when you look at it all in one go, it could be like some Swedish surname or
yeah, or
something.
like Greek,
Like
Volpopol.
yeah, yeah. But then you're like, probably not. Like, why did you literally just like an any joke type thing?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like, Dave of all people. Fucking, yeah, that's like kind of what it's referencing to. Yeah.
So I was watching some of your other interviews, and you like typed as an INFJ one time in MBTI.
In Myers-Briggs, yeah, in Myers-Briggs. I had all kinds of different types, but that was the first one I got. But yeah, it was just all over the place. But like INFJ, and even reading it, you're like, oh, I can see that. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you can see that, and like sort of what other type you got before you got to
uh,
ISE.
no, like if I had read that, even if I had read that, like, well, since finding OP, even before I was typed, if I had read that description, I'd be like, nah, that's that's not me. But like the thing is, like, well, it depends on where like you get it from. If you get it from like the 16 personalities things, it's just like compliments. It's just like you're good with people, you're nice, you're this, and then I'd be like, oh yeah, of course I'm nice. I'm totally an INFJ. I could totally be that. But yeah, back then I kind of resonated with it, but I think I was like 21, so it was a long time ago before I really knew kind of how I was, I guess, So
How old are you now?
33
Wow.
was a while ago.
Yeah, I thought you were just like a bit older than me, and I'm like 24.
So
Well,
that's a compliment. I appreciate it.
um, so like, if you would have read ISTP, do you think you would have related to that or not?
Back then, I think with the way the profiles were written, I could have probably identified with most of them, honestly. Um,
Maybe.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, maybe I would have resonated with it. I think so. I don't. I don't think I would have resonated with like the SE part of it. I think like back then I felt like I was more of an intuitive, more of a planner, more of someone who was thinking in the future. But I think back then, I think I was more of like in a demon and I state all the time and freaking out because I felt like I needed to plan or everything was going to go bad. So probably would have resonated with most of it, sure.
Because I got typed as TISE the other day. Like I myself type as TINI, but like feminine NI, so it's like not an amazing NI. Like it
Okay.
feels like I'm like narrowing down with TI, and then like my NI is narrowing down, but it's kind of open ended at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
And I still like I'm trying to process being like SE savior because I'm just so shit at life.
Yeah, well, I have like SE struggles too, even though I'm like savior double activated masculine SE. I still have the things I deal with. One trick that might work, like there's this test called Type in Mind. Have you heard of it?
No.
So it's like a really simple test, but it's like pretty true to the cognitive functions and stuff. I had my ex take it as if she were me, and she got ISTP for the test. So if that's an option for you, maybe check that out and see if that helps you narrow it down.
Yeah, I'm getting like sort of double blind typed outside of OP. I'll
Okay,
see what the
cool.
second guy thinks of what my type is.
Nice.
Try and make
Okay.
sense of it from there. Um, yeah, but they thought I had masculine NI, which is cool, but I'm also like, that's really weird to me. Like, just it's
Okay.
just like against how I'm conceptualizing and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think like with the modalities, I feel like those should be a bit easier to guess. Like you should be able to self-report those a bit easier. I feel like I would have never typed myself as masculine, and there was a one point where I thought I was double feminine, but only because like I just didn't think I was just very masculine like as a person. I didn't see like the modalities and stuff. But like I wouldn't have like I'm generally not very like this is what's going on. I've never been like that, and I know that, and I knew that before getting typed. Same with feminine FE. I always knew I was feminine DE. So maybe like, yeah, probably you could probably trust your gut on what your own modalities are, I think. But maybe that's
You're
just,
actually, sorry, you're actually almost making me doubt myself because now you were saying you thought you were double feminine and my type would be double feminine, and I'm like, I'm more feminine than Dave, and he thought he was double feminine.
because like, yeah, because I thought it meant like that you were actually feminine as a person. Like I feel feminine on the inside, but I realize that I don't actually come off necessarily double feminine, you know.
I
So
had the exact same thing. Like I feel like I'm like really like feminine FE soft all the time, and then like apparently I'm really blunt, and I'm just not like that at all.
okay, yeah, yeah.
So I wanted to ask, like, in your Benjamin interview, he asked you about TI, and you were just like, "Oh, you know about TI all day long." But do you think you could actually break down what actually is TI to somebody, or not?
Yeah. Well, okay. So who would I be telling it to? Someone who's familiar with typology stuff, or just somebody on the street, or
Um, let's say someone's getting into typology, and they're like, what is this TI thing that apparently you have? How would I recognize it in myself?
I think the easiest way to break it down into like I feel like describing TI as a whole is kind of difficult, and you have to use a lot of anecdotes. But I feel like the easier way is to split it in half and be like, okay, are you thinking or are you feeling? Most people can understand that, where it's like, are you more analytical? Are you more relying on your rationale for stuff, for decisions, or are you more pulled by your values? Are you aware of your emotions? Do you know how to process your emotions? So TI would be on the other side of the spectrum, where it's focusing on reason and focusing on analyzing things and focusing on what's conventionally known as like the left side of your brain, right? And then the other half of that, is it extroverted or is it introverted? You know, so what would your friends say about you? Would they say that you're the selfish asshole, or would you say the guy that's killing himself over helping them all the time? Like, you know what I mean? So like, are you a giver or are you a taker? Like, that's kind of the way. So I would describe it. So somebody who's analytical, focusing on that side of their brain, and then also having like a selfish streak. That's how I would. If you're like, if you're wanting to define it in a way that somebody could see it in themselves, like as far as what TI is, just as a cognitive function, I guess that's a different explanation. But yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty. That was a really good description, by the way,
thank you.
for somebody trying to understand it, or recognize it in themselves. But it's really abstract, like all of the introverted functions. Like I feel like FI is probably the easiest one to describe, but they're just so sort of out there.
Yeah.
Uh, I wanted to know if you feel like you have like, it's kind of related to TI because I feel like TI kind of does the same thing, like an IJ box, like a mental IJ box, or like a physical one, or anything. Do you have anything like that?
In general, I do that, but I think it is because of my NI. As far as like TI doing that, um, kind of like, in a way it does, right? So you're like, your TI is trying to figure out the why behind everything, like what is the reason behind all of this stuff, right? And so you could construct a box of like, you could have a reason that explains a whole bunch of stuff, and you want things that kind of conform to the reason that you have. You might not admit that as a TI user, that you're kind of have that bias there, but like you are kind of doing that, like, this is my way of thinking, so let me see how everything else conforms. So you could potentially make a sort of box like that despite being an IJ. As far as how I see that in my life, I definitely do that at work. So like at work, I try to make an IJ box, and I hate new stuff at work. Like if they give me like a different thing to do or a thing to look at, and it's like, oh, I got to do a bunch of research for this. I got to figure out how this is going to work. I got to change everything. I got to have the anxiety with wondering if I can even do this in a good way. So at work, I'm just, please just keep me narrow. Even if it's like, I just want like a couple responsibilities. Doesn't matter what they are. They could even be responsibilities that don't play in my savior functions. I just want to focus very narrow on just one and build on that, because it gives me a sense of certainty and it makes it less stressful. And so, yeah, I see myself with the IJ box at work. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of see like in myself, like one of my best friends is an ENFP. And
Okay.
he's like bouncing around all over the place for everything. He's like, oh yeah, join this call so I can play this game while I'm talking to you, while I'm also watching this thing. And I'm like, how can you do more than one thing at once? Like, it's so frustrating to me. It's like, I'm just doing two things half-heartedly, and it's like, I can't handle it. I just want to do one thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I want to do it 100%. Um, Do you feel like in your TI, you can like, if I came to you right now, let's say you've got a preconceived belief, if I came to you right now with some better reasons, or like a better TI, let's say, do you feel like you can fluidly just be like, oh, okay, cool, that's the new way of seeing things? Or do you like need to sleep on it?
Um,
Sleep.
yeah, it really will. It depends on a lot of different factors. So, depends on how you show your TI. If it's in a combative way, or like it's like my TI is better than yours, then I'd be like, fuck you. I'm going to figure out why mine's better than
Right.
you know. Or if you're like an expert at something, and I have my TI sort of reasons about whatever the topic is, and then you say, okay, well, this is the better way. I'm going to be like, okay, this guy's an expert. I should consider it. But then I'm also going to verify it. Be like, okay, let me think through it. And so, yeah, in that way, I do need to sleep through it. Let me think through it and make sure it's consistent, and then I'll accept it. But generally, it is hard to go from a different system because there is a lot of like ego there where you don't really want to admit somebody else's TI is better or their TI sort of logic because you think yours is the best for whatever reason. So, but I will do it if the circumstances are in the right way where I'm like, okay, like let me get over my bullshit and let me accept this new way of thinking about something, you know?
Right. Yeah. I feel like I really need to sleep on stuff. Like
Yeah, yeah.
my ENFP friend will give me some better TE than my TI, and I'll be like, yeah, look, maybe, and then he'll be like, no, tell me I'm right, and I'm like, I need to think about it. I don't know, man.
Yeah, yeah. You can't like TE just like talk it back and forth and bounce it out. Like, no, I need to just focus on this and really like think it through because this is
Yeah,
important
yeah,
to me,
yeah.
right? Okay.
I also kind of feel like, so I was seeing like an IJ box is like in my TI. I kind of feel like once I've figured some stuff out, it will like go into like a bookshelf or something, like abstractly.
Okay.
Like I'll feel myself almost kinesthetically reaching for things in my mind.
Hmm.
So that was kind of where I was coming from with the IJ box, and I don't know if you relate to that at all or not, or if it's
Okay.
totally alien to you.
Could you repeat it again? I don't think I 100% get it.
Like, once I've done like the process of figuring something out, and I've got my conclusion, I
Uh-huh.
feel like I slot it into a framework somewhere of understanding, and like I
Okay.
can reach for it, and that feels IJ boxish to me. But
Okay. And so like that's that thing that you've understood and stored away is like a thing that could be fitted elsewhere in other situations. Sort of like it's a
yeah, or maybe like in an SI way, I need to like just recall it, and I'm like, what is this? I've figured this out before, but I haven't thought about it in like half a year. But where is it? And I put it out of.
okay, okay. So you have like little storage units for your understanding sort
Yeah,
of
I guess.
thing. Okay. And it's hard for you, I guess, to remember those sometimes.
Yeah, I
Like
mainly
those
don't remember
conclusions.
how I got to my conclusions, but
Okay. But you remember the conclusions pretty well though, I guess.
yeah.
Okay.
Do
Okay.
you have that or not?
Um That's the thing. I usually remember how I got to the conclusions. But I don't like, I have trouble remembering the conclusions that I made sometimes. Or like, well,
Wow.
so it's like when I run in this situation where I need it again, it's like, oh, I already know this, but I forgot that I even knew that. Like I'll come across like a profound thing, like, oh, this is so great. Wait a second, I've already done this. I've already figured this out. Why am I figuring it out again?
I do that so much. Like I feel like every few years I'm like learning the same like big NI truths over and over again, and I'm like, why can I not just fucking actually learn? Like,
See, that's feminine in I, like definitely, that's
right, okay.
what it does, yeah.
On the subject of that, do you feel like you have like observer freakouts where you're like having these crazy missing information sort of
Um,
deals?
no, like sometimes I'll see something that's like, oh God, this isn't good, but it's like, what can I do about it? It's more like I still see things the same way as like an EP would, but like I guess I just don't give a shit that much. I think that's what it comes down. Like, it's like, yeah, okay, they're tracking us, they're spying on us. Like, what the hell can I do about that? Hopefully it gets better. And, things like that. Like, I'm just so I guess it's not really a fear. It's an acknowledgement, but there's no like emotion behind it, I guess I would say.
I guess I kind of have that, but I also kind of like have random moments where I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm like gonna conjecture some stuff,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
my conjecture is normally really retarded.
Okay.
I randomly one day decided that pigeons are probably robots because I've never seen them do anything apart from just What
They are kind of like robots. The way they like move their head and like
Yeah,
walk.
yeah.
Like, it feels like they're just some pre-computer program or something, right? Like,
Yeah, and what do they do? I've never seen a pigeon do anything apart from like look
then
up at
eat.
people and then like try and get some food and then just like look around some more and it's like what the fuck? What is
Yeah.
this? This is not an animal. Animals don't do this.
So did you
Animals seem-
actually like consider like, wait, maybe they are robots, or was it just like something that came in your head?
It's mainly just me being stupid, but like I feel like animals generally, when I observe any animal, they're on the way to do something. They're trying to gather. There's a reason for them being around. Whereas pigeons are just totally pointless, and I don't know where I got it from. It's just
Okay, like yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you see yourself having like observer type freakouts at all, or
Yeah, quite often.
okay, what is it usually about, if I can ask?
Really random stuff. Like I had like a massive rant recently on Facebook about Discord, where I just
Okay.
like went full on apeshit retard.
Oh wait, was that you with like how you don't like the layout and how you have to?
No, somewhat. I think it was
It's a different one.
Xavier who did like a
Okay,
thing, and then I left like a massive comment with like extra comments on the bottom of like doing like the double-decided humor of like, oh, I made this new app, it's totally fucking retarded. Do you want to use it? Yeah, I'm a fucking idiot. Let's fucking use this dumb app. Oh, let's make everyone else use it. Otherwise, they can't join in on our things.
Yeah.
That sounds perfectly fucking not retarded. No, I was really like passionately upset about it. Like this, the way it's laid out and stuff is like, we've had things like Skype, which makes sense for years, and then they just like decided to throw all of the normal conventions out the window.
Every week there's something new with Skype, and you're just like, where the fuck do I click now? Like, why is it in this menu now? Like,
I hate that so much.
So yeah, Discord is annoying too, but it doesn't send me into like a rage or anything. But I'm like, how am I supposed to keep track of anything on here? Like, I can't. Like, it's just all over the place, and the connection's always shitty, and it's just like, I don't know. But
I feel like mine's almost like it's actually like a decider freak out, but it's like a decider freak out in like people are telling me that Discord is great, and I'm like, how the fuck can you?
Oh, yeah.
Are you serious? This is so bad. Can you not see how bad it is? If I was on my own, I'd just be like, okay, this is annoying, but I need to navigate it.
okay, I can.
Like, you're so wrong.
Yeah, for me, I get ragey about that too. Like if somebody's like, this is so great, this is so perfect, and like clearly it's not great. Like, how did you come to that conclusion? Like, it makes you, I don't know where the anger comes from. It's like, how could you be this stupid thing?
It's just dumb. It's just like, what, excuse me, what is happening? Are we living on different planets?
Oh, man. Or like even with like teachers or like spiritual gurus, like, dude, have you listened to Deepak Chopra? He's so deep. Blah, blah. That dude's an idiot. Like, he talks about nothing. None of the shit he says makes any, like, how are you? And then I like judge them for that. So I'm like, what are you into? Why are you into this? And then I have to like, F and be like, well, listen, like, relax. This doesn't matter. Like,
and then they'll give you some actual good advice, and then you'll be like, yeah, fair enough, but you like Deepak Chopra, so Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know if I can trust this. If you can listen to that asshole, then I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Freakouts, man.
Yeah, freakouts. Yeah, over silly stuff, over TI silly stuff. This information's not factual. I need to correct you right now. Like, I still don't understand where that comes from, because if you really look at it, it is kind of silly. Like, what does this have to even do with me? Why am I getting mad about it?
And it feels like it's like so emotionally driven, despite being thinking. Like,
it feels personal, like a personal. Yeah.
And like I feel like my whole entity focuses onto like the Facebook comment, which is wrong, and I'm like, no. Like,
yeah, totally. Oh man, it also depends on the degree of smugness to which it's said. If it's like a really stupid thing, and they're smug about it, I want to kill that person.
I actually almost get more triggered by like TI people, like INTPs, when you like have like no sort of like sense of tact or something, where there's like no FE or like consideration of how it's going to come across, and they just say, I think this is wrong, here is a reason why it's wrong, and you're just
or
like,
just no. When people type just no, when somebody does this long post about their idea and then somebody's just no, I'm like, oh dude, that's so mean. Like, because it's like, it's like you don't like it when you do that. Like we both probably do that, right? Being TI users, we have our no moments, right? And we don't like that when we do it. So when other people do it, we don't like that either. So then we get mad almost because it's like I guess it's kind of a projection sort of thing where it's like, like, listen, I do this sometimes. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? I'm really bad at this. How are you also this bad at it? I don't know, but
It's weird because you don't notice as you're note machining that you're doing it. Like
yeah,
a Discord call like a week ago, and somebody was saying like oh, this INFJ in the community, maybe they thought they were an ENFP before, and I like speak to this person, and they definitely didn't. So I was just like, no, and they were like, yeah, but maybe from how they were behaving. And I was like, no, and they were like, I could have explained to them that I know the person, but I said no like 17 times instead, and then just left the call. And I just like woke up the next day, and I was like, what did I do that for? What the fuck?
yeah. I've been there. Yeah, there was a good explanation to that actually. There's see if you can relate to this at all. There was a famous physicist. What was his name? Richard Feynman. I think that's his name. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he has an autobiography called "Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman." And in there, he's like a note machine too, and he's aware of that he's a note machine. And he says that the reason he's a note machine is because as soon as somebody starts talking ideas or logic to him, he's only focusing on the idea and logic, and the person kind of fades in the background. He doesn't even know the person's there. And so what he's like doing note to is to the idea, not to the actual person. So it becomes like an impersonal thing where you just nope, no, this is stupid, this doesn't work, blah blah blah, and you forget that hey, there's somebody I'm saying this to. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, now
It's a good book. Yeah, if you want to, if anyone, you or anyone watching this wants to understand Savior TI, read that book because it's just full of TI anecdotes and they're hilarious. They're so good.
I might try and fit it into my really limited space for consume.
Can recommend it, man. Yeah, if you have time, it's definitely worth it. Yeah.
I'm so bad at reading, like not actually the act of reading, but like just finding time to sit and read a book. I just
Yeah.
like I'm drawn to screens and stuff instead.
Yeah, we're all drawn to it now, man. We're all like situated because I used to read all the time. Like as a kid, I would just read for hours. Now, like it's super hard to get me to read a book. Super hard. And I feel like I don't know. I've come to the point where I'm like, this information isn't useful. Whereas before I was much more open to information. Now I feel like I've consumed so much. Like, I already know what this shit's gonna say. Or I'm like, I've like turned into an IJ almost. Like I'm just like, like what's this self-help book gonna offer me? What's this gonna, yeah. So
I've kind of always felt that way. I've kind
yeah,
of
really.
been in that way where I'm just like, oh, this fucking guy gonna tell me about life.
Fuck Zeno. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like kind of feel like you're like in your mind, not looking out at yourself from a third person perspective, but like before OP and stuff? Have you ever felt like you were kind of actually tribe above self, but then like you like? For me, I feel like I'm like running to like my introverted functions to like get away from like the tribe sort of like smashing me around in a like metaphorical sense.
Yeah. I used to think I used to think I was a people pleaser back in the day. I even got a book about how not to be a people pleaser because I wasn't a people pleaser, but like every time I would do something for somebody that I didn't want to do, I was like, oh, I'm a people pleaser because I did something that I didn't want to do. So I would have probably thought that back then, back in like early 20s or something like that, that I was probably, a sacrificial lamb for the tribe or whatever. Yeah, I think I had a bit of that delusion back in the day.
Do you not still have any of that feeling of like feminine FE? Like if you don't have a reason not to do something, you just kind of go with people's stuff or like stuff like that?
Yeah, I still go with, people wanting to do stuff that I don't want to do. It just, there's like I don't know, there's a threshold when it becomes this like so sucky, but maybe like, wait, I can't see my hand. When it gets like really this sucky, but like, oh, I really owe this person to help me move. Okay, it's not so sucky. And I haven't hung out with them in a while. Do you know what I mean? So there's like, it's kind of a balance. It still favors TI mostly, but I still go along with stuff and do shit I don't want to do because it's the right thing to do. And I feel like now I am able to kind of put myself in their position a bit more to like kind of see how they would feel if I didn't do it. Whereas before I kind of didn't really notice that so much. Still not perfect. I still tell people to screw off all the time. Not literally, obviously, with feminine, but yeah. So
I was thinking of something to say, like to ask. related to that, and I've totally lost it as I was listening to what you were saying.
That's all good.
Oh, like for me, it's like, do you like sort of like, my threshold for like doing stuff for people is like, is it gonna make me, am I gonna hold this against you in the future? Because like if I'm going to, let's say we were both like in the same town, on opposite sides of town, and I was coming to your house and you were like, oh, can you sort of like take like a 5 to 15 minute detour to go get me something from the shop? I'd probably have nothing against that. I'd just change my route and it wouldn't even be a detour. I'd just like make it part of my route. But then there's things that like, it's like, I have a plan and you're asking me to do this thing and it goes against my plan, and I'm gonna be pissed off in the future when my plan's not going well. I'm gonna be like, fucking Dave, and that's like like a big thing that I don't want to be like hating my friends and stuff, and I don't want to have these negative feelings because then it's gonna like, I'm gonna probably cat energy you at some point, and I want to avoid it at all costs.
So do you sometimes avoid doing stuff for people because you're gonna resent them later for it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I guess I don't think that far ahead.
Really?
Or I don't have like the presence of mind to realize that I'm going to be resentful. I just end up being resentful.
For me, that's like basically what I'm thinking about. I'm like trying to manage. It's like, okay, I want to do stuff with people because I really like, for the most part, looking from the outside in, I am pretty selfish. And like, I even say to people, they're like, oh, you're such a nice guy, you're so this and that. And I'm like, actually think about that though. What have I actually ever done for you apart from just like talk shit with you? Like, I'm not self above tribe. And then, no, a tribe above self even. But then, like, I want to be in a good state with the tribe at all times in the future, and it's a disaster if it's going down a bad path.
Yeah, because you do have you do act like DE as far as like your community. Like you're not really. You said earlier that you're really blunt, but I don't really get that. Maybe in a different setting. But you seem very nice and very. You don't seem like like you're an asshole or you're a selfish guy. So maybe that's where it comes from, just in the way that you act. But yeah, as far as like, well, but what have I actually done though? That's the part where I guess they're not paying.
Thank you. You seem nice too. That's a compliment to other demons. Like, it's funny because you say this, like what I was saying there, and I remember like you and Joyce's video, you're just like, yeah, I'm pretty much just selfish and stuff. And then like you realize how you're sounding, and like who you are is clearly not that to everyone else. So they'll just be like, yeah, okay, he thinks he's selfish. And then you're like, no, wait, I don't want to make myself unemployable and stuff. Like,
yeah. Or sometimes I'll say that like, yeah, I'm kind of a selfish asshole. And then I'm saying it like as a joke. I mean, it's true, but I'm like, I'm not saying it to like, to insult myself. I don't see it like as an insult. I just see it as what it is. And then I laugh about it, but no one else laughs. And so I'm just like, okay, they really think that I just am like being hard on myself or something. Like, it's like, no, like it's okay. Like I have to accept the fact that I can be selfish, that I can be an asshole. That's the only way you get past it. And so I'm okay with admitting that. And hopefully when I do admit that, people will laugh along with me because it's not a big deal. And it's something that I'm working on, Yeah.
Sure. Relating to that, the side of freakouts, how does that manifest for you?
At its worst, it just feels like everyone hates me. Everyone's just like, Dave, like, Dave of all people.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, it does feel like you just, it kind of feels like you're not valuable. Like, like people are just fed up with your shit, and they just, Dave thinks he knows it all. Dave's always telling us what he thinks. I'm tired of hearing what Dave thinks. That's kind of what it feels like, I think, for me. And sometimes like something will happen that doesn't really indicate that, but kind of does. Like maybe somebody just like ends a conversation really quick or says something that's not even like pretty much harmless. And then I'll be watching for it more throughout the day, and then I'll notice something else and something else and something else and something else. And like, everyone hates me.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. What's really funny is like, I feel like it was like half a year ago or something. I was like speaking to Danielle from the group in like private messages, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna take a bit of a break from the group because I feel like everyone's sort of getting sick of me, and I'm just like being an annoying douchebag. And she was like, have you ever spoken to Dave? He has these same problems, and I was like, wow, really?
Yeah. And like the truth is, nobody is even noticing you. You know,
Not at
maybe
all.
that sounds harsh, but like nobody's noticing anyone. Like I'm not like, are you keeping track? It'd be like, well, okay, there's a few people in the group like, oh, this guy again, but very few.
Just
Only the
one or
people that
two.
are just posting it, or if they're like saying really mean shit and like triggering people. But like that's it. So maybe like 2 or 3 people ever, you know. So, but like, yeah, nobody's tracking you, nobody's paying that much attention, I hope, anyway. But still, it feels real, right? It feels like, God, people must be so tired of my shit here, and people don't like me on this group. And yeah, I've definitely felt that for sure.
Yeah. For me, I also had one of these really recently. Uh, like a demon. I think it's like related to demon F. Like not even like so much like the IP thing, but like when you have demon feeling,
Mhm.
like I can get into like an emotional state where I've like confirmation biased myself into thinking I'm annoying and everyone hates me, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
I'll like go and like I can like watch my videos from the past. Like I can like watch my video with Otum and we got along great and it was amazing and all
Mhm.
that. And I can like project into it like in his eyes he's judging me right now and he's finding me annoying. And I was like, and then I watched the same video the next day when I wasn't freaking out and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, totally. Like, yeah, or like sometimes like I'll send voice notes on my phone to people now as like to way to work on my blast instead of texting or whatever. And like I'll like listen to the voice note. I'm like, God, I came off as such a douchebag there. Or like they're judging me for this, or this was bad. I'll happen to listen to the same voice note a month later, and I'll listen to it and be like, oh, that was perfectly fine. It's the thing is you mix the context up with what you're actually saying. Like if you are feeling insecure and you're feeling like your tribe hateable, then whatever message you send, you're going to interpret it as it being like a dick message. If you remove the context and the emotion behind it and really just listen to it, like, oh, that was fine. So it's like our fears are tricking us into thinking that like, oh, this is a dick move, or I'm being an asshole, or he's judging me or whatever.
Yeah, it's like massive projection. Like for
Totally,
you,
yeah.
does it feel like basically the same thing as like a missing information freak out, but instead of about stuff, it's about people? Because like you don't know how things are coming across half the time because you've got demon FE and you're like, oh, I'm gonna say this thing and I'm gonna put a smiley face, and then you don't like. I'm always concerned about like what state is this other person in because they're like not replying that much today or something. And I'd be like, oh, maybe they're having a really shit day, maybe something bad's going on, and
Mhm.
they saw my smiley face and they were like, oh, he's making fun of me, and then like you start snowballing out of control with bullshit.
Yeah, yeah, it's totally a missing information thing. It's the demon in F. For me, it's the demon in FE to where like I can't read the vibe or the context of I just look at just what happened and I don't look at the overall relationship with the person or maybe like what state this person could be in. I just look at just the facts and that's it. I'm like, oh, look what they didn't type a smiley this time. They usually type a smiley. Clearly they hate me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So yeah. It is like I think even though I don't have pure like information tidal waves, the NI does not help with Demon NI does not help with the decider issues at all because I can't like see what's going on beyond the thing to kind of back me up and help me. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully this is like helpful for like single deciders because I haven't really seen anyone really delve into it and I can kind of understand why because it's like kind of personal.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's super embarrassing to admit a lot of
Yeah.
that stuff, like it, but I think you have to be comfortable with it or get to the point where you can discuss it because like nobody's looking at your decider issues and be like, oh, Dave is not a valuable person because of the way he acts. People are looking at like, oh yeah, I can relate to that. And so like I feel like the step to me double deciding is being able to admit that I'm a decider and that I have these stupid things. And then seeing the feedback of like, that's normal. Don't worry about that. And it's like, oh, it's normal. I'm not some weirdo. Okay, great. Like I can,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You can like move on and grow from that, I think. So even though it's like, it's embarrassing and it's personal, I'm trying to get past that about it being embarrassing.
Yeah, so blast a lesson to single deciders. We all feel this way.
Yeah, yeah.
Shannon
In
will make
some
fun
in
of
some respect, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Dave and Shannon make fun of us and be like, haha, they care about people, but like you're not an idiot. Me and Dave both have it.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't be too upset about it. Because just nobody talks about it, so I think it's sort of important.
That's true. Yeah, it doesn't get talked about a lot. That's true. Yeah, I've noticed that. But,
It gets talked about by like observers and stuff, but not like I've never heard anyone have a conversation like we just had where we're like actually going through how fucking stupid it is. Because
Yeah.
especially when observers are talking about it or somebody talks about it in a detached way, you can be like it's not as human and you can't really relate to it to yourself, or you can, but it's like just information. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Exercise the demon Effie and give the tribe some help.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
So do you feel like you are good, or you like to brainstorm and like spider diagram, or not at all?
Spider diagram. What's that?
Yeah, like brainstorming, like you have a central idea and you like sort of web off it.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it would have veiled any question, like
Okay.
the Dallas
Yeah.
compared to any, because I feel like that's like a really any thing, and in school they try and make you do it a lot, and I'd always just be like, this is the idea that I want, and then I'd just like sort of expand on that, and then like bullshit a bunch of fake
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. I don't want to spread out because then I lose focus. I'm trying to have a goal here. But like when it comes to music, though, it's different. When I'm making music, then it's like any where I'm like, okay, this reminds me of this, reminds me of that, reminds me of this, and then it takes me out somewhere. And then I have okay, this is the identity of the song. But after I've followed sort of the any jump, which is really exhausting. It's just hard to do that. But I feel like to make the best music, or at least for me, like it has to be sort of reactionary like that, or else I come up with just dog shit, you know?
Yeah, I have the exact same thing with music, and like for me, I like feel like I started producing like maybe like a year ago. Before then, I was
Okay.
just like a guitar player and a singer, and I didn't realize it at the time. But now looking back, like I think I had to outsource a lot of my NE, because like for me things are just so minimalistic, and like I almost like don't like reverb on stuff because I'm like I feel like it's like washing out and we're losing the clarity of what the actual part is.
That's good. Everyone that starts producing puts way too much fucking reverb on everything. So that's good that you automatically are like, reverb.
Yeah, but you kind of need it, like, because otherwise it's just like way
Yeah.
too dry. Like it doesn't feel like cohesive and stuff. So
You
like,
need just enough to where you don't hear it. But if you take it away, you notice it. That's like or at least that's what I found to be the best like way for reverb for sure.
where can we find your music?
I have a SoundCloud of it's mostly older shit from years ago, but I can link it to you later if you want. It's mostly weird like electronic music. I don't know if you're into that, but yeah,
I'll
got some
see when I
stuff.
hear it.
Okay.
Um, yeah, outsourcing any is weird though, because you send stuff to like NFP friends, and then they'll be like, why is it just like this one element over here and then this other thing here, and it's like because that's how I hear it.
Yeah.
And then you have to sort of like realize what you're doing isn't like pop, and that you actually want people to like it, so you have to sort of adapt yourself.
You have like your own mixing style, and some people are like, why is the kick drum on the left speaker? Like,
For like the first like 4 months or something, I just like didn't. I was scared of like things sounding harsh, so I just low passed the shit out of everything.
oh,
It
dude,
sounded kind of cool and underwater, but also like it wasn't clear a lot of the time.
same. Like, my ears are super like sensitive to like the higher frequencies. So everyone's like, when they listen to my music, like, it sounds a bit like dull. Like, do you feel like there's not enough highs in it? Like, no, it sounds perfect. It sounds smooth. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
ends up being like lo-fi everything, even if it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it just gets grating. A lot of the high frequencies for me, I don't like them.
Oh, it's so annoying. Like, especially because when you're like working in a DAW and stuff, things are loud, and you're listening to it for like 6 hours in a row. Fuck. Like,
Yeah. To be honest, I just want to hear the bass the whole time. That's my thing.
exactly. My bass is way too fucking loud.
Same thing. It's like, Jesus, you need to turn this down. Like, can't you feel it?
I sent a track to my friend, and he was like, "Oh man, this is really like, your mixing's gotten way better, but man, you need to like reference stuff for your bass because this is fucking insane." And I was like, I feel like it's kind of normal. I feel like loads of songs have insane bass, and I actually compared them, and my bass is like 20 dB louder than the song I was referencing.
Okay,
relative.
yeah. I think you get to the point where you find like what's the normal, and then you just go a little bit above the normal to have your style, but not to like freak people out. I guess like that's
that's what I've concluded too. Because like, I don't know. I think bass is sort of misleading. Like a lot of the time when you feel bass is like loud, it's not. It's just like it's got like some highs in it or something. So it's like present, but it's not actually like loud.
Yeah, you're supposed to like feel it. You're not supposed to really, I guess, hear it that much, right?
I want to hear it though, man. So like coming off of what we were just talking about, which is like any nonsense, like
Yeah.
does any polar resonate to you? Like,
Yes, I think so. Like the interesting thing is like, so socionics has like NE is like like the worst function for my type. But according to OP terms, I should be able to use SE and NI together to form NE. So what my thoughts are is that like, since I have SE and NI, I don't need NE's like, who needs that? Because both these functions are fulfilling the roles that need to be fulfilled to get to my like correct observation. So there's almost not a need for NE. You know what I mean? Because these functions are fulfilling that role. I'm just doing it differently than an NE would.
yeah,
But yeah, so I think with that, since like the observations are covered within INSC, that yeah, I do really have poor NE because I have no reason to use it, and no reason, even though I do have reasons to use it, but throughout my life, it just hasn't, I haven't found a role for it besides music, right? So I think I do resonate with that. I think out of all the shadow functions, that one feels like my brain will either do it or it doesn't. I don't feel like I can turn that on. I'm just either in a mood to where I can sort of, bounce around through concepts and stuff like that and tie things together in sort of a really lateral way. It just depends on my mood a lot, and it's exhausting. I can't do it very long. Like if I listen to an ENTP or somebody like that, that's like high NE and they're going through all their theories and shit, I can follow, but after a while I'm like, okay, please stop. Like I can't do this anymore. Like please. Okay, I get it, man. Let's move on. But yeah, so yeah, I would say I identify with NE polar. Yeah.
yeah. For me, it feels like just something with the way my brain. Like, I need to disclaimer this. I feel like that I don't dislike anyone with any, and I think you have really great ideas, and it's probably more my problem than yours. But the way my brain works is that I'm always like looking for a point and stuff. Like if somebody's saying something, there's a reason why they're talking, and like I want there to be like a point, and I want it to be like blast or whatever. And like with lead NEs especially, I'd like often really have no fucking idea what they're talking about. Like they're talking and the words are coherent, and I'm just like I don't get it, and I'm like searching for a point, but sometimes like they don't want there to be a point. They just want to explore the
Yeah.
ideas, and I'm really baffled and confused. Like and after a while, like you were saying, you like want it to stop. For me, it like physically hurts. Like it's like cringe, but it's not cringe like emotionally. Like there's just something that's like it's repulsing me.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, I feel like well, so they're making a point, but they're like leaving the point so abstract that you can kind of fit it anywhere that it's hard to see what the point is because it's so loose and broad that you're just like, okay, it's like, and then you try to like narrow them down on it. Okay, you're just saying that if you're positive in life, good things will happen. That's the whole meaning to your message. No, not exactly. So it's more of like within. Well, think of like a thunderstorm, and so the thunderstorm radiates out, and it's more of like a hologram. So like when you have this hologram, it's actually representing total consciousness. And like, okay, like no, that's actually this is what you're saying. Maybe it doesn't encapsulate the full thing, but this is the point that you're making here. I don't know why you're talking about prisms and shit. When sorry, ENTPs that are listening, but. No, ENTPs, I actually really, even though it can be draining after a while, I do really like listening to them, and I like the way that they describe stuff because it's a lot less boring than like how ST describes shit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's interesting, yeah.
For me, I feel like it's I can't right now I'm kind of tired, so I can't really do the maths on what my consume animal would be. But like ENFPs have ST blast, and sometimes I really like it because it's to the point and stuff. But sometimes like it's ST blast coming through like the lens of NE, and I can't latch on to what they're saying somehow. Like
Right.
I know what they're saying, but I can't grab onto it. Like if somebody does like some NF blast or well, let's say an INFJ starts blasting, I know exactly what they're saying. It's great.
Okay.
It's like, I'm like there with them in the train of thought. Whereas NE, like I sort of start disassociating. I'm like,
Get me out of here.
sometimes I'm like just like I really want to understand, but just like there's something like pushing me away, like repelling me magnetically. It's
Yeah, okay.
bizarre.
Can you tell the difference between like what somebody's blast animal is, if it's ST or NF or whatever? Like, can you just tell by the way they're blasting?
Kind of like Yeah, but a lot of times if they're like low blast or something, or they're not blasting, they're actually in like sort of play mode, then it can get really ambiguous.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I guess there should be like a style there. If you, depending on what functions you use to blast, there should be like a pattern there. But like, oh, NF blasters sound like this, sound like this. But like, I haven't been able to pick that up yet. But yeah, yeah, it's funny you mentioned like when INFJs do it, like it's pretty understandable. It feels like that for me too. It feels like NIFE blast is the least woo woo out of all like the, or not woo, that's not a, I mean like, yeah. Okay, I haven't processed that all the way. I guess for me, NF blast, like FE and I feels the most,
Understandable.
like, yeah, understandable, but also meaningful. Meaningful, that's what I
Right,
said.
yeah, yeah.
It feels like the most meaningful. Like, it feels like it's getting to that the core of things. So maybe that's a hallmark of an IFE blast. It's something that I can't put it into words, but I guess there is like a feel to it, a style to it, I guess. But I don't know it well enough to be able to describe it. Yeah.
I guess like as FE users, even though we're bad ones technically, we like appreciate the sort of way that they try and convey the message, and then there's like an NI point, and we like NI and narrowing stuff down, so it
Sure.
makes sense. Like
Yeah.
ST Blast is really good too, but I latch onto it less because it feels like more impersonal. Like it's like ST reporting where they're just like saying the facts, and
Okay.
I think we pretty much as STs are covering the facts anyway, so it's less valuable.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah. If somebody's blasting facts at me, it's like, I just tell me what you're getting at here. Like, I don't care
Yeah.
about the facts. Like, just tell me what you're getting at. Let me verify that this is even worth like listening to. And if I can apply it to my own life, and then the facts, like, yeah, we'll verify those later. But let's just see what your point is before I try to go look for the facts and back up what you're saying, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you kind of touched on it before, but I think it was in like your shadow functions interview. I watch way too many Benjamin videos.
You did do your research, man. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
You were saying that like TIing music doesn't really work, and like
Yeah, it does not.
sort of FI music and stuff. I kind of feel like it does work, but like
Okay.
it works to an extent which isn't like that. Like you get some way there with TI, but then you need to like actually start using your other functions and stuff. How do you feel
Okay.
like you do, where does it not work for you, and where does it work, and how do you TI music?
Because for me, it's like so the way I interpret TIing music is like looking at like the rules of like music theory and looking at like trying to think of things in terms of like, okay, what should go here? Like what's logical to come next? Oh, there's a chorus, so there should be a bridge or a breakdown or something or whatever. And like it takes the creative side out of it for me. And like it ends up just being like, the music ends up being really bland and just sort of patchworky a lot of times, and it just doesn't sound like a song to me.
Right.
So yeah, I find when I'm really in that part of my brain where I'm thinking about what to do, like analyzing what I should do, it does not come out well. When I feel it, when I just am like, well, this feels good, or this feels right, or I like this sound, or this, whatever. When I'm doing that, then it comes together a lot better. Although it usually doesn't fit conventions a lot of times, which maybe is why it sounds better. I don't know, but yeah. So how is TI effective for you when you're doing music? Do you find? And to clarify, like TI when it comes to the mixing stage totally works, but I mean like in the like
Yeah.
yeah.
I almost question if it's actually TI or if there's like there's some extra version coming on somewhere, because I'm like comparing stuff. But like
Okay.
I'll like say I'm making like a R&B-ish hip hop song. What I've gotten into recently is like I kind of like saw some weird connection of like a lot of like old hip hop would sample like Led Zeppelin and stuff,
Oh yeah. Okay.
and like the big Led Zeppelin like drums and stuff. So I was like, okay, why does that work? How does that fit into here? Like sort of relative to this? How can I mix like sort of like an R&B-ish guitar with that drum
Okay.
sound, and how can it work? Maybe if I put some distortion on it. But I don't know if that's really TIing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say because it kind of was an FI choice to pick those drums. Oh no, you like those drums, so you put them in. It wasn't like a logical decision, was it? Or
No, but then I feel like when you like start adding stuff on, like things
uh,
will normally not work. Like if you like try and do like an R&B-ish guitar line over that type of drums,
mhm.
if it's really clean, it will sound really weird, and I'll be like, this can surely work, and then you'll like start being like, okay, so if I smash
Okay.
the shit out of it here with some like parallel compression or like some
Yeah, yeah.
distortion,
Hmm.
and then I'd like add like a more modern element in like the bass or something, and I'll blend like this element with this. I don't know if it's Ti. I'm
Okay.
trying to
I
think.
know I can see how that's TI. Yeah, they're still like logically, oh, these would fit together because reason, right?
Yeah,
So like I could see that when I do that with music, like it sounds great in my head. Oh, it's a great idea. And then I go and do it. I'm like, oh, this is like it only sounds good like when it's an accident. It feels like when I'm just like fucking around. I'm like, I'm just gonna do this without thinking about it. And like, oh, cool. Like that's didn't expect that. Like that's. But when I think about it too much, it yeah, it doesn't turn out well for me. It seems like.
I think it's like the feminine FE keeps just completely distracting me from my own thoughts until getting into what people are saying. So I always have like a point, and then they'll start saying something that interests me, and I just totally like lose
Yeah,
myself
yeah.
in their train of thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how that is for an interviewer because you got to listen to what the person's saying and understand it, but then you have to come up with like what to say next and how to follow it. Like I feel like that would be hard to do both of those at the same time, right?
It is. It's really hard. Yeah. So I guess like, a lot of the time, like the start will be something FI. So I'll be like, I like those drums.
Hmm.
But then I'll start like TI referencing. Which I don't know if it's TI. I guess it's SETI. Like I'll like consume the SE, and then I'll be like, right, how does this fit into a situation? Like why does it work? Like a lot of the times those like that big style of drums won't work that well if there's not reverb or something. And
Hmm.
I'll be like, okay, where do I need the reverb? Do I need it in the high end? And I'm like, yeah, okay. So then if I have like not much bass in the reverb, then I've got more bass for my bass. And then how am I going to blend this with the other things? Like, do I want everything to sound like it's in this big reverby room?
Okay.
Probably not. So then I'll like
Okay. I see what
start
you're
feeling
saying.
like I'm TIing that way, but I can't really
Yeah, that
stop.
makes sense. Yeah. With that said, I guess yeah, I'm using TI a lot more in my music than I realize because I'm kind of doing the same thing where it's like I'm logically thinking of kind of what should come and not like feeling it out and not like just yeah. It's hard to
You
apply
feel
that
it
to
out.
music, I guess. Hmm?
I guess you feel it out because you like as you're trying to do the process you're doing TI, but then you press spacebar or enter or whatever it is on your computer and you listen back to the song and how it actually affects you. And if it's not working, the TI reasons aren't gonna make you
Yeah,
decide
yeah,
this is a great song.
that's true. I guess like a good example of that would be like when I'm making like a melody and I'm like really terrible at melodies because I didn't really have like a musical background. I just went straight into producing. And so like I'm like drawing the melody in on my like piano roll or whatever. Like, okay, the note should go here. And this would make sense. Okay, I shouldn't go to a fifth here because the other melody is also going to a fifth, all that stuff. And then I'll listen to the melody and I'm like, this fucking sucks. But if I just like have on my keyboard and I'm just do, and I listen to it, I'm like, wait, that actually sounds okay. How did I do that? Like, I don't even know how to like play a keyboard. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, I feel like that's the TI, like, okay, planning it out, like, okay, rationally what should go here. And then FI just, it's how
I,
I'm
f-
like,
I feel what works really well for melodies and stuff is like just trying to sing something and then try and like
to hum
mimic
it.
what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
sung
okay. Hmm. That's a good idea.
or sort of like be like I want it to be tighter and normally that's going to be like higher and stuff. Like you'll be like and you'll be like
Okay,
like
okay.
I kind of think of melodies like a sentence. You
Yeah.
want like a point and then you can have a comma and then you make your second point and then a full stop and then you're probably going to repeat or come up with like a
Yeah,
second
that's a good way to
melody.
do it. Like you could even record your voice into the DAW, and then like the tuner on Ableton will tell you the notes that your voice is
Yeah,
into, so you could just like,
yeah,
yeah, okay. It's like half OP talk, half music talk today. I hope like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting for some people to hear about music. Well, the musicians will be interested, at least.
Yeah, and we're talking about function still, so it's kind of
That's true.
related.
We're kind of staying on topic a little bit, but yeah, that's true. We're
Um,
channel changing a lot, but yeah, that's for me, that's always great. Like I like channel changing and just going, or I don't resist it. But I feel like, or do you have, so you're thinking, are you thinking that you're an IJ? Because I feel like IJs usually like to keep on like one topic and kind of, they don't typically like it when you switch sort of the conversation around.
No, no, I'm thinking I'm ISTP.
Oh, you do? Okay. Okay. Well, then it makes perfect sense of what we're doing here.
Like I'm thinking I might be like NI, so I'd be like an IJ-ish
Oh,
ISTP,
like
but
TI and I. Okay.
not really that convinced. I can see either way still.
Okay.
It's not that different either way.
Are you convinced of like your function set though? Maybe just not the order or?
I'm really unsure on my animals because I was typed by some people outside of OP like a few days ago, and they know about OP and they like are into it, so they like sort of like also gave me how they saw my animal stack, and I think they saw it like similar to yours, like lead consume, and I feel like I'm demon consume, but then like I feel like I'm consume last, but then most lead consumes probably feel that way, so I don't know.
Yeah, because it's hard to know like your first animal because that's what you're just doing all the time, and so you feel like that's just the normal thing. You know what I mean? Like I didn't like. Well, I thought maybe I was consume first or sleep first. I couldn't tell, but I'm not even like sleep third or whatever. It's just like yeah, what the hell are you doing all day? Like literally write down what you're doing. Watch YouTube video for an hour, had a coffee, watched another YouTube video, read this thing, they took in this information. Like if you're just doing that all day, then you probably consume first. If you're just laying on your bed and like thinking about life for like 2 hours straight, probably you'd save your sleep, right? Like that's
Do you feel like I'm just going off of like now you pointed it out? I'm noticing how much I'm bouncing around.
okay. We can bounce around. That's totally cool.
Cool. Do you feel like you appreciate sleep a lot? Like you value it?
No, I feel like I used to. Yeah, weird enough. Like when I was younger, I feel like I was more of a sleep state all the time. But at some point, I feel like I can't figure this out with like just sleeping on stuff. You know, just thinking about something over and over again. Like I have to do something. You know what I mean? So man, I guess it's hard to answer. Like in some ways, I don't value. In some ways, I do. I do value sleep when it has a specific person, like or person purpose. Like when if I'm just sleeping and just thinking of shit, like I feel like that it leads to nowhere and it's draining. But if I like, so for instance, I've been trying to be aware more of like the patterns in my life here recently, especially with work. So like if I have a presentation, which I have to do for my job now, after that, I need to sleep and look at what happened. And I need to think of the patterns of like what happens during these presentations, how could it be improved? And I need to make sure I take time to actually do that and to record and actually like, kind of do research in my head about what's going on. And I need to apply that for everything. So like I do value sleep with like a specific focus on like pattern building and pattern awareness, but I don't value sleep just being in my head thinking of weird scenarios and shit. If that's even considered sleep still, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. So the thing for me is like I definitely consume a lot, but I feel like consume is nothing without sleep. Like it doesn't, if I've not processed what's going on, like I'm just getting overwhelmed and I need to think about stuff to the point where like this is my phone and it has no internet and stuff because when I leave my house, I don't want to be able to consume stuff. I feel like I need to sleep. And like some of my like highlights of my life is literally going to the shop and buying some eggs or something because it gives me time to think about stuff and not be looking at a screen.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Like, so how does it feel like to be in like your sleep mode? Could you like literally just lay down and just think about stuff for like 3 hours straight without actually doing anything or consuming anything? Or is that like, would that be boring for you or?
After a while, like maybe after like an hour and a half, I'll get restless, I think.
Okay. That's longer than me. I would say I can't do it that long unless there's just something really pressing or I'm like freaked out about something, I guess. So maybe that's a tell. I knew like one person who I suspected being sleep first, and she said that she could literally just lay in bed all day and just think about stuff. Like it would be no problem for her. She'd be totally relaxed in that state to be able to just do that. She'd be perfectly content to just sit there and think about stuff. And I don't know if that rings true for other sleep first or if that's just she's just weird. I don't know, but might be something to think about. if you're trying to look for that. But for me, like the way consume and sleep works is like I take in something and then I process it. But I'm not processing stuff and then like taking in data around that. Not very often, maybe sometimes, but usually the sleep is serving the consume, you know?
Wow, that's interesting. How do you feel about like your play and your consume? Because like for me, like the reason I like doing these interviews is like I talk to two people for like an hour, and I feel like I learned more about OP, and it like I can sleep on it more meaningfully when I've like had an like actual human to human thing, where it's like I've got like an affective memory of this, rather
Okay.
than it just being ST sort of facts. Like if I watch a video,
Mm-hmm.
which for me makes me think I'm like play above consume. But how do you feel with your play and your consume?
Um, like as far as how they interact together, or
Like, which one would you rather be doing? Would you rather like learn via playing or but via like reading?
oh, consume definitely. The reason I don't like learning through play is because of like tribe issues, you know? I have okay, somebody else has to be involved. Like, it's like okay, that's
Yeah.
gonna be stressful, you know? Like I can do it, like I'm able to do it, but there's always a bit of anxiety, and it's always going to be more draining than just like looking stuff up. Like I think Shan said in one of the QAs or some video she made that like she would rather if she was having a problem with her app, she'd rather read through all of the manuals and try to fix it herself than go and ask to talk to somebody for 10 minutes. And that's the same way it is with me. I just would rather figure it out on my own, you know?
See, if I was lying to myself, I'd say that. But then, I'm not saying that you are. But like, I'm that annoying guy in like judo class who's just like constantly asking the coach, "Oh yeah, but if when I do it this way, my knee feels this way, but then when I do it this way, it feels heavy. So it shouldn't be
Yeah.
heavy. I should be using my skeleton to throw people, not my muscles." And stuff like that, and I just feel like I'm actually like really annoying, and I need to like turn it off.
Are you only like that in judo class, or you like that with most things? Because like when I'm doing like combat sports stuff, I'm asking the coach a lot because that's kind of like how it has to be, and that's what I'm used to. But it's different when I'm talking to somebody else. So is that something specific to judo, or do you like that for everything?
That's a really good question. I I think I'm a bit like that with everything because like
Okay.
I could just be reading about sort of what consume play is, but instead I've bothered you and I'm like asking you now about it. For example, like I need to get people involved so that I can like properly like it make it mean something.
Yeah. So that seems like it's probably save your play, or it could be play third in your double decider, because like I know Dave has no problem going and playing like figuring out like talking to people and getting stuff, and then he's play third. But being that double decider, you don't have that fear of like, what are they going to think if I'm asking them stuff, you know? So it's like, so that could be what that is. It could be you have like play second or third or something. You're being a double decider, so it doesn't freak you out to go ask people stuff. Because that really is the best way sometimes to just fucking go ask somebody. Don't try to spend 3 hours figuring it out on your own when you could just ask one question, you know? So, yeah.
I feel like I definitely do have tribe issues though. Like there needs to be like an established pattern of like you're okay with blasting at me or something because otherwise I feel like I'm just like I'm gonna send you a message, be like, "Hey Dave, what's it like to be an ISTP?" And you're gonna be like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Like,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, fair enough. I think it's, yeah. Yeah, so is that hard for you to see whether you're like on the decider or observer side, or do you pretty sure you're a decider?
at first I thought I was an observer because of all the observer freakouts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm probably a decider because I like care too much about what people think and stuff.
Okay.
Like I think to some extent before OP and stuff I was peacocking, not caring about people. Like I was just being like a DI guy, just like fuck the tribe. But actually,
Yeah.
I actually do care what they think. But I'm just
Yeah, yeah.
like
You're
retarded.
just kind of playing a role to make people laugh or to be funny or whatever, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, why that happens? Sorry.
It's all good.
Do you? This is like we totally went off topic there because we were like having a play moment, which is kind of the whole point of these
Yeah.
interviews.
They're better that way.
It's-
When they're structured and they're like,
Yeah.
okay, with this question, it's like, makes you want to fall asleep, you know? Not me personally, but maybe people watching, like, it's just like, it's better when it's just a normal conversation and it just goes, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's better, but like for me, I really like Joyce's channel and Benjamin's channel.
Because it's, yeah, very structured, I guess, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but then I'm like, if I'm gonna do it then we already have Joyce and Benjamin, so I might as well like be more unstructured and sort of just have a conversation about like Dave
Okay.
rather than like the concept of ISTP and make it really OP-ish, like just like
Yeah, yeah.
what
Like
actually,
finding your niche there. Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
And I think it's the best way for me to learn because I think just like blasting at each other is kind of weird.
Yeah, I couldn't do like a blast interview or just like questions, like. But I guess that is like actually that is like a valuable form of doing it too. Is if you're trying to really learn from something like somebody that's watching, like just to have the questions at. But for me, like I can't do that. It would be too awkward if I'm like, okay, and now, so you're an ISTP. What does your NI look like? Okay, what does your FE look like? It's for me. I feel weird, and I can't do it that way. And then I don't know what to say either. That's the weird thing. I don't. If I have stuff to say already, I don't know what to say. That's the weirdest thing. I have to just go with it, or else it's gonna suck.
Yeah, I feel that way too. Do you like? This is my last of the not written down questions. That's just going off of the tangent we went off of.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you blast in your head a lot?
Yeah, actually. Yeah, oddly enough, you wouldn't think so, but maybe that's why I don't blast enough in real life, is because I'm always doing it in my head. I'm always like, okay, how would I say this to somebody? And it's like, wait, why am I thinking about this right now? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I would say it like this. There is times where in my head where I'm just explaining stuff to people. I don't know.
That's like 90% of my life. I'm
Is
just,
it? Okay.
they're just like, if I said it in that way, it wouldn't come across right, so I need to find a different
Yeah,
way.
yeah, absolutely.
And I'm struggling to like find the difference between that and sleep because I don't think it's sleep. I think that's just
Okay.
blast, but you're doing it for yourself to process. Like you're processing with
Yeah.
blast introvertedly.
Yeah, maybe
You're
it's a bit of
using
both.
FE.
Yeah. But that's totally what it is. I think it's like maybe it's from like an insecurity of our ability to to do blast. So we're like rehearsing it in our head so we can't do it when we need to do it because we're not comfortable just, doing it maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I'm so on the fence of whether or not I could be blast last because I feel like I could be savior blast because I just love talking shit apparently.
yeah. It doesn't feel like blast first to me.
No, definitely not.
I would say that. Maybe
I can see myself being sleep blast, but
yeah. I would bet
That's
I would bet I would bet blast third or fourth. I would bet demon blast. But that's just I don't have any sensory evidence for you. That's just a feel. I could be wrong, but
right.
that's my guess.
Okay, cool. That's helpful for me. What? Oh, double observing. Nobody seems to even know what it is. Like we kind of know what it is. So I see double observing and I can kind of maybe explain it a bit. But do you as a double observer feel like you've got a good explanation of double observing?
It's actually harder from a double observer's point of view to explain that because it doesn't feel like abnormal. You're not really sure what you're doing that's different than everyone else. Like I can see people being decidery for sure. I can't see people necessarily double observing, but like, okay. So for me, there's two sides to to observing, right? There's the what is, and then there's the context. When you're not a double observer, you're either just looking at the context or you're just looking at what's there. So a good example of this is I was at work and I was doing this training thing and there was an assignment and it was like it had a description there. It's like, okay, you need to build a model based on these words. And it was like, okay, there's an insurance company. The insurance company does this and then they do this and they do that. And I'm looking at exactly what to do. And I'm like, okay, there's missing information here. I was like, okay, like they didn't mention this, they didn't mention that. I don't know how to do this. I can't do this. And then I was like, okay, wait, what should be here, or what do they want from me? Like, what's the context of this whole thing? What am I doing here? Why are they giving this to me? When I think about the context, okay, it's an insurance company. What does an insurance company usually do? Blah blah blah. When I look behind it, that fills in the details for me. Like, okay, I know what to do because I've used both. I saw what is, and I saw the context. Now, when people who have intuition first, they just look at the context. Oh, it's an insurance company. I already know what to do. And they just blah blah, and then they fuck it up because they didn't look at the exact instructions. So, like, double observing is being able to see what is and seeing the context of it, I think.
That was really well blasted.
Hey, thank you. I've blasted in my head a million times already.
Yeah, because if you didn't have an answer, I would have been like, I guess you can like see Benjamin double observing, like he like will take in information, be like, oh, I guess that seems like this, and then there's new information. He's like, oh, maybe this, and he like figures it out as he goes. But that's
Hmm.
like an even better example because like there's so many IJs and EPs in the typology community, and you can see them like not double observing in the way that you described. Like they just
Yeah.
like sort of like take something at face value and then just like totally fuck it up.
It's hard to see when people are doing it. Sometimes I can see when people aren't doing it. And like the way I see it when people aren't doing it, it's like the people that are in first and they're blasting about something, they'll give you conceptual stuff, but they don't pair it with like an example. They just leave it in kind of this metaphysical land, and it's just like you can the problem with that is like you can maybe understand what they're talking about, but you have no way to verify it. You have to have some kind of sensory and example to like, oh, I see how it applies. I can fact check it. I can run it through a simulation with this example. Oh, I see how that makes sense now. But they're just giving you the ends. You're like, okay, what the hell? Like I think I know what you're talking about, but I can't verify it because you've given me no sensory at all to like actually see how this applies. When it's just S though, I'm not sure what that looks like. Maybe they're just giving you all the facts and you have to figure it out yourself, what they're trying to talk, what they're trying to say. I don't know. I haven't been able to really understand that so much.
I think with S, you kind of just get like the facts and then their like preferred decider on it. So like it might be like really ST, but often it'll be just like, here's a fact, FI anger. Like,
Here's a fact. I don't like this fact. Here's the next fact. Also don't like that fact.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like on that same topic, do you see like a distinction between N and S, or is it just sort of like melded together for you?
Um, yeah, as far as what my brain's doing, it's never just S or just N. It feels like it's usually like, yeah, I feel like they're in a way, yeah, kind of melded together, I guess. Because to me, it doesn't make sense to just look at facts, and it also doesn't make sense to just make guesses and just imagine stuff. So it's always kind of, it always feels like so for me, like the way it works is I run into scenarios in my life by doing stuff, and I run into them multiple times until like, oh, there's a pattern, and the pattern just comes out of nowhere. Like, oh, there's a pattern with this. Oh, I get it. Might take me 50 times, but eventually the pattern hits me in the face. Well, what I've been trying to do now is I've been trying to just have a couple scenarios and be like, okay, and actually focus on what the pattern is and take like responsibility for that. And that's been like super, super helpful. And I've already lost what did you ask me originally? Sorry.
I was asking if you sort of like delineated between intuition.
Oh, right. Are they melded? Yeah, yeah. So like, yes, they work. I'm like the patterns are coming to me just kind of automatically, just unconsciously. But now I'm trying to make it more conscious, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah.
I do see them working together, but it's an obvious preference for SC during that, I would say.
Wow. How about just as a warning, we're coming to the end, like I'm running out of questions.
Okay, fair enough, man.
And we've been going for like over an hour, so I don't want to keep you here all afternoon.
It's all good, man. Went by
Do you,
fast. So it went by fast.
yeah, really fast. These interviews
Yeah.
always like are so quick. Uh, do you? How about like T and F? Like, do you definitely see yourself like bipolarly jumping between them, or does it? For me, they both kind of feel like they're the same, but I can see a bigger gap. But I don't know how you feel about that.
Oh yeah, and I feel like I've been like noticing that more and more, where it's like it's almost like I'm just refusing to see the other perspective. You know, it's like I like when something happens that's upsetting to me, I just see my perspective, and it's like, yeah, well, let's. And then even in my brain, I'll be like, okay, let's look in their shoes. Like, no, I don't want to look in their shoes. I don't care about that. This is what happened. I don't want. And then it's like I have to like force myself. Okay, how did they feel about it? Like, fine, okay, I guess it wasn't that bad. I shouldn't be offended about it. Whatever. Like it's, you know what I mean?
Wow.
It is a struggle.
Right.
It's like, fuck, it's hard to jump over there sometimes. But like it depends. Like when I'm in this interview with you, it is like just FE mostly. Like it is just like kind of like how you would feel what I'm saying. I can like stay in FE or I can stay in TI, but it is really hard to like to go back and forth all the time. Like that's super tough for me to jump back and forth, I think. Yeah, definitely notice a difference.
That's really interesting. I don't feel like I necessarily have that because I'm so concerned about how it's coming across FE wise whenever I'm trying to
Mhm.
do stuff. Oh shit! No, I've realised that I definitely go into TI really hard sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Right. And people were like, "Oh, you're being so blunt," and then you have to like jump to FE and be like, "No, no, you need to understand why this is beautiful, man."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Didn't mean it like
Um,
that.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I've literally run out of questions at this point. Do you have anything you want to talk about or ask me about or
Um,
put out into the world?
no. Keep me updated on your typing adventure. I would really like to see. Yeah, what type you end up. Are you gonna get shaved or have a phone call, or are you just trying to figure it out on your own? Or
I want to get shaved, but at the moment I'm
okay.
unemployed and I've got like
Oh
no
yeah,
money
yeah,
for anything.
yeah.
Like
Super
I've
expensive.
basically got money for food and that's about it.
Oh, okay.
And
I
then I
understand.
think when I get money, getting shaved is like in my list of priorities, but I've got loads of things that I need to buy. Like I need to get a graphics card for my computer and I need to
Okay.
upgrade a guitar that I've had for 10 years that there's just shit and
Okay.
stuff like that. So it's something I'm going to get round to, but it's not in the immediate future.
Gotcha. Okay. There's some really good people in the group that are good at typing. If you could find them,
Yeah.
I feel like asking the group as a whole, like you're gonna get all kinds of stuff. You're like, there's a couple people like that are just like really spot on in the group, and I would ask them specifically, hey, if you have a second, can you watch this video of me? What do you think I am? And I would probably go with that.
Most of the good typings that I've gotten where it's like really good reasons and it's not just like people
Yeah.
observing bullshit has been ISTP of some description. So
Yeah.
I'm like pretty sure it's that. But on the other end of the spectrum, people would just like look at me and they're like, "Oh, you're an ENFP," and I'm like, "Yeah, it really doesn't fit for how I'm seeing things."
Yeah.
Like, do
Yeah.
you see ENFP at all in like this conversation
No,
specifically?
I feel like you're on the TIFE axis. I have no idea where they're at though. I couldn't tell you. You could even be FE second. I don't think you're FE first, but like you could be FE second. I would guess not, but as far as your observers though, I'm not sure. That could be different. I couldn't tell you there. But yeah, it feels like feminine FE. I mean, just off this one phone call, I would say it really feels like feminine and I, or feminine in general. But I think that's all I've kind of picked up from it. But
Yeah. So when I got typed the other day, uh, they were seeing me as like I see myself as MFTINI, and they were seeing me as FFTISE,
okay,
and like it kind of evens out to like almost the same thing, where it's like I'm an ISTP with like a strong NI basically.
yep,
But I kind of feel like I don't respect the sensory and I don't know what the fuck's going on and stuff like that. And
yeah,
also like I definitely feel feminine N in that like things aren't. I want things to be more rounded down than they are in my mind. Like I see it as like masculine TI, so like that's like sort of affecting all my functions below that, especially ones like OI, which are like narrowing stuff down. But then the OI is still feminine as far as I can tell. So as I'm like I've narrowed it down in my thoughts, and then the pattern's narrowed down almost like it's like a blast last sort of OI rather than
yeah,
like
yeah,
a good OI where it's like this is the point and then the
yeah,
full
yeah.
stop.
Yeah, it's like always kind of open, right? And you're just kind of like, it could be this, could be that.
Yeah, that could
Yeah.
also just be demon and I and like masculine, but I'm
I
not
actually
really
no,
sure.
I actually disagree with that. I think there's like people with demon and I that's masculine, and they are like so sure of stuff, like they're really like, or maybe that only happens. Maybe okay, maybe you're right. Maybe it's only like in a swing that happens. But I feel like I feel like that's always so noticeable when somebody's masculine and I, because it's like, whoa, how do you know that? Like, how are you so sure of that? Well, you know what I mean? Have you consumed enough for this? Do you know what you're talking about here? No, of course I know. Like that, it's
I've done that before. I
okay.
don't do it anymore because like I realized that I'm dumb and I'm wrong a lot. But like,
So it depends on what you're doing it on. If you're doing it on logic, it's different because I'm like that with logic too. Like, no, this makes sense. What are you talking about? But like, yeah. So what's the relevant example? Are you masculine on the intuition when all the information's not there? When you don't feel you know all the logic or whatever, are you comfortable to be like, oh no, it's this. I know what it is.
no, like
Yeah.
when I'm typing people, like supposedly I'm pretty good. Like Danielle was typed as like everyone thought she was an EFP or like some sort of NFP. And I was like, yeah, I couldn't word it, but I was like, I'm seeing like, if ISFP could be SI, like SIFP, right? So I was like seeing like Savior SIFI, and like nobody else saw that, and I was pretty confident on it, but also I wasn't sure at the same time. I was like, I'm definitely seeing this, but I could be really wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
And who else? I don't know. There's been like a couple of typings where I'm like, I don't think I've ever gotten something really wrong, but I'm still not confident because
Sure.
I'm like, I tend to be really broad. I'm like, there's OI of some description. I think it's sensory. I don't know.
Yeah, do you feel like you're just getting lucky sometimes with when you get close? You're like, yeah, wasn't feeling confident in that at all, but like, well, I got pretty close. I guess I just got lucky.
Yeah, I don't know because it's confirming my NI bullshit.
Okay. For me, I always feel lucky when I when it gets close, and because I didn't feel confident about it, I'm like, oh, I probably just got lucky this time. Or I probably just got lucky this time. I don't know if that's feminine in I or not, or just doubting myself, but yeah. But yeah, I feel similar.
Again, I had something to expand like towards before I started speaking, and then I like completely lost what the fuck.
This is probably why you're not blast first, I would say. This is a
Consumer of a blast.
It's like, I feel like OEs do this a lot, where they'll be like, oh, I've lost the thread, or like even when they're talking, they'll be like, wait, what was I talking about? Like that. I feel like that OEs do that a lot. Could be wrong with that. I think
I noticed that if I'm blasting, I'll sometimes be like, I'll get out on a really like N limb, and I'll be like, why am I talking about this? I'll be like, what was my point? What the fuck?
That happens to me too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what my point was. I have no idea what I was saying.
It's all good. If you remember it later, just message. It's like you wake up at 12 in the morning. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say.
Yeah. Send you a message at like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Dave! Exclamation mark!
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really fun talking to you, man.
That was great, man. Yeah, I had a great time. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for telling me about your type. Thanks for potentially helping out the single deciders with feeling not alone in their decider freakouts.
Yeah, I hope it's relatable. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I hope it was helpful for you too. I hope it, like some stuff made sense.
It was really good. It was really good.
Yeah, cool.
I'm feeling more and more confident with everyone who like when I talked to Otum and then now talking to you that I'm probably beta quadra. Like I'm 90% sure that it's ISTP anyway, but then there's like weird things that could throw it off. But
yeah. If you are an ISTP, you have a pretty developed FE for because a lot of ISTPs I talk to are like they come off a lot more TI than you do, I would say.
Right. One of my best friends is ISTP, and like compared to him, I come across really INFJ, but I don't think I am. I think it's just like he has feminine TI, and so he's like. People have said that he's like really demanding, like he like puts so much pressure on the tribe, and he'll be like, oh yeah, you're doing this thing, don't be a pussy, fucking blah 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 blah, oh fuck this, oh fuck that, blah blah blah. And like, I typed him as an ISTP, and I was like, I don't think I can be an ISTP because I'm like so much less blunt than him and stuff.
Yeah.
But then when I look at ISTPs like you and stuff, it's confusing because I feel like I could relate to you and I could see us being like a really similar type.
Sure.
But then with guys like Benjamin, and I'm sure there's other ISTPs, like the info dump thing that's like so clear and stuff, like it's just like so information, so like
it's like just the information, just here's what it is, and it's more like direct, I guess, right? Maybe.
Yeah, and I definitely don't have that. To me, like I don't see myself being the same type as Benjamin, but I see myself being a similar type to you. But you to me, you sort of have like more of a masculine sort of thing, but also like I think you feel like more ST, but there's definitely the N in there.
Sure. Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I don't get like too in with my talk most of the time, mostly because I'm trying to consider like the people that are listening to me, and if I get too in, then it's not going to like necessarily make sense. And that was like a big insecurity for me when I was younger, because I felt like I talked it in language a lot more, and it was like, what the hell are you talking about? And so now I do ST on purpose just because like I want it. I want what I say to make sense more than I want it to be like profound, I guess, necessarily, you know. I guess that's yeah.
I went full circle on this where I was like, for example, like when I first heard about Jung, it was like in like religious studies, and it was like they brought up like his dream journal thing, and then like the archetypes that he like derived off of like analyzing people's dreams and all that. And there was like immediately I was like, this is 100% accurate. This is a thing. He's found it. It's great. But then like there was a thing in my brain. I was like, why does he think this though? Where did he get this from?
Yeah, yeah.
And like I felt like I had to like
yeah.
extrovert my doubt of it so that I didn't seem like a NF hippie retard. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, like if you're like, here's what it says. This is what this means. This is the answer to life. But I don't know. It could be wrong. To kind of give yourself a way out, right? Like you're not like, yeah, too boo boo there. You're like, yeah, I know what you mean.
and because with the way I look and stuff, I feel like if you're like a boomer or something, like not to insult the older generation, but these people have like all the keys to like they're the gatekeepers of like every industry and all this stuff, and they're teachers and professors and stuff. So I need to be able to speak in a way that they can like understand and not just think like this guy's a fucking idiot like, who's just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
off on some esoteric bullshit. So
yeah,
I peacocked ST really hard for a long time, and now I'm coming back to like NF, and I'm like seeing that like NF is like really valuable, or at least to me,
yeah.
like it's like more natural for me. I'm way more easily able to do that than I
The
am.
fact that you're even thinking about that, I think means a lot as far as like where your FE is. Like, cause like you said you were 24.
Yeah.
When I was at 24, I was a total robot. Like I would not have been like how you are. I'd have been like just typical ISTP in every way. Like that's how I was. So the fact that you're like this at 24, I think like could speak to you being a double decider. Could be. And the fact that you are that young, you could still have like some decider issues left over that like you'll end up resolving in a few years, maybe. Because I definitely still had observer issues back then, I think. You know, yeah, definitely still, yeah, 24, totally, yeah. So feels like you feel like a double decider, I would say. I would lean more towards that for me.
See, Joyce was saying that like the way that I process information seems more double observery to her. Like I'll like ping back and forth between stuff. I'll be like, I kind of feel like this, but then there's this and blah blah blah. But I don't know. I'd say that if I'm an ISTP, which is most likely, that I have to have activated FE. Like there's no way that my FE is not in one of my savior animals somewhere, because I like compare myself to other TI DOMs and stuff, and I'm definitely aware that I'm not coming across like that, and I'm more aware of.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. So you're not like a play last ISTP for sure, because then
I thought I would play last for a minute.
it's a very like almost feels like a different type completely. If you compare like the consume play to like the consume sleep blast, whatever, it feels like it's like they're almost like an NI savior or something. You know, they feel completely different.
Right.
Yeah, it's yeah. So yeah, it could be like you're like consume play or consume play blast or something like that, or yeah, who knows.
If being lead consume is going to be so hard for me to wrap my head around if it is the case, because I really feel like I'm missing consume, like I'm just like not taking shit in. Like I hate new stuff. Like I've got examples of things that are really demon OE, like Kendrick Lamar. Everyone when Pimp a Butterfly came out and like he became famous, everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's the best rapper ever," and I was like, I don't want to know. I've got an idea in my mind of what good rap is. I don't want to recontextualize it. And like even with like video games and stuff, I'm like, I know what good video games are. I've played the shit that I've already played. I don't want new stuff.
Yeah. So it could be like you have to look at it as I think. Well, this is my opinion, but like, do you feel like there's like I should be consuming more and I'm not? Because that is typically what a consume will say. I need to consume more. Why am I not consuming as much as I should be? But someone who's like, you know, not consume savior, they're going to be like, I don't really need to do that. I don't really need to consume anything. I'm consuming just enough. I consume all the time. What are you talking about? Like that's, you know what I mean?
I feel like I'm consuming too much, and it's annoying.
Okay. Yeah.
So, like another example is like I've got like Tyler the Creator got a new album recently, like in the last year. And I was still listening through to the album before this, and I haven't finished sleeping and consuming the last album. So I don't want to introduce this new shit into my life because if supposedly it's better, but I'm enjoying the old thing, and I don't want to like not like the old thing anymore because I haven't gotten to the depth of it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
which could be savior consume because I want to consume everything
Yeah,
there
it
is
could
to
be. It
consume.
depends on like how often that's happening. Because I have like my areas where I'm like, "Ah, I don't want any new here. Like I like where this is at. I don't want to, but not for very many things, you know. Like I hate buying new clothes, and usually I do like the IJ thing where I just buy the same shirt in like a bunch of different colors, and I just okay, I don't have to worry about it anymore. Everything's the same, and I like having everything being the same thing. It's like you'll see like that NI with me as well, but it's just only in a few areas of my life, not very often though. So you have to see like, okay, is it just here with this album, or is it just like with everything that it's like that, you know?
Yeah, I think it's mainly music and sort of like hobby shit. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really want to have my mind blown by this new revolutionary video. Like, I really liked, for example, like The Witcher 2. And then The Witcher 3 came out, and it's like, I want to play it, but I still haven't done it because it's going to change my life. And I don't want my life changed. I like
Okay.
my little dumb box of information that I have.
Okay. Hmm.
Because I feel like it's scary for me to like recontextualize my understanding because I feel like I'm safe where I am, and then
Mhm.
like this new information might completely throw me off, and I might be completely lost, and I
Okay.
like might tailspin. It's not gonna happen. It's never happened. I don't know why I'm afraid of it, but I feel like I'm gonna tailspin out, and that almost feels like Demon End to me. But
Yeah, that feels very observery. What you just I can't relate to that at all. That feels like
okay,
yeah, it's like this video game might just completely uproot my life. Like, yeah,
uh, yeah,
it's hard, man. It's hard like typing yourself. Like I thought I was almost every type before like I got like actually typed or whatever. I'm like, oh, this week I'm an INTP. This week I'm an ESTJ. This week like, and it was like I can't know this. Like somebody just tell me what it is because I can't figure it out. You know?
yeah. Like the people who think I'm an ENFP are like, oh, you must love it not being narrowed down. And I'm like, you don't understand how much I want this to be clear. Like you literally, what I would do to like not have to think about this shit.
Dude, if you were an ENFP, I would eat my shoe because it would completely like completely destroy my knowledge of what I think OP is. Like, how is that guy in? Maybe you have an ESI, that's possible. But like, if you're FI, like like how?
Yeah,
Like, how is that? What
that's
did
how
I
I feel
miss?
like.
Yeah. And typically, when I'm talking to someone who's FI savior, like we're missing each other in some places, or it's not kind of hard to understand. But I think everything's been pretty clear. So could be. I don't know. Like I would bet money that you're not an ENFP. But my typing results are generally not that amazing. They're 6 or 7 coins I get right on average, which is barely above average. So it's not that great. So
Right. You've probably got a lot. I'd say that my typing's amazing, but I've got such a small data set to work with that like my
yeah,
next 10 typings are probably all going to be totally shit. So I'll get back to you on how good my
yeah,
typing's going to be. The we like said goodbye like half an hour ago,
like, yeah. Okay,
so we should probably leave. We can keep talking after the call, but
okay.
I kind of need to pee. So hopefully people enjoyed this. I thought it was really great. Thanks a lot, Dave, for coming out and doing this.
Yeah, no problem. It was
It
great.
was insightful. It was confusing towards the end because now I don't know what my
Oh no.
angles are. But it's good perspective because yeah, I don't know, people were seeing me differently. And I don't know what to make of that, but people tend to want to oh god. I'm trying to end the video and I'm going on to some more OE. But the one thing I've noticed is that people tend to want to type me. You didn't do this actually, but they want to type me on their observer axis. So people
Okay.
on SINE will be like, "Oh, you're SINE," and then people on NI, SE will see me as that. But I'm fairly sure I'm NISE. That's like the one thing. Is it?
Okay.
No, I'm 100% confident on my deciders. My NI is feminine to the point where it could be NE, but I don't feel like I'm doing the NE thing. And I don't know
Yeah.
what they're saying, NE people half the time, so if I'm one of them, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have anything to say before we end this broadcast?
No, I just had a great time. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I think that's it.
Cool. Thank you very much for coming out. As I said before, it was a great interview.
No problem.
ISTP are cool, guys. Sensors, ST. They're underrated in Myers-Briggs, but they make the
trying.
world go round.
Yeah.
Bye.